Hello everybody, this is Federico. Welcome to this series of video tutorial of Escape Studios. Today we are gonna go through, this is a short series of tutorial about how to recreate a scene from the last trailer of Rogue One, the new Star Wars film. Basically, it's gonna be split in 4 parts. My part's gonna be modeling and texturing 3D assets for the scene. And while we're going to have also rendering, keying in Nuke, and final compositing plus matte painting in Nuke as well. So let's start with the actual reference that we use for this project, which is this shot here, starting from now. We decide to basically pick this part because, first of all, we already have the TIE Fighter we get from Video Copilot, who put this library of assets for tutorial for free to download, and also because it was quite challenging and full of different techniques that we can use for recreate, from keying, so shooting green screen, actual actor, to do a set extension, a matte painting, integrate 3D and 2D at the same time. This is what I basically did in Maya. I create this bridge in 3D. It's nothing too complicated. This is the actual shot. The camera is taking from, we took the camera movement from the actual footage we shoot for the green screen, and we put everything together in Maya plus the model who's been animated by Tom, another guy of the tutorial. And yes, basically it was a simple 3D modeling workflow, box modeling inside Maya. As you can see, the bridge is quite different than that one in the shot, because we tried to go for something more original, more like, at the same time more complicated, if you consider that bridge is quite simple to create. And this is what I end up basically model. And the only things I can actually say about this was that I used ZBrush to create this pipe, which was using insert brush. It was easier for me to just draw them on my model. And for them, this box here, I use Boolean workflow because it was just faster, and I didn't need to care about the topology at that moment. So even if you can see it's a mess, it works fine for the shot, and it's way faster, as I say, than just model out all of these details by myself. Alright, so before to move to actual texturing, what I want to say is UV layout, what I want to talk about, because UV layout is one important thing texture artists have to take care on in pipeline. It's up to you, basically lay out your UV and be sure that it works fine in every software you're going to use. So this is what I end up having, basically 7 tiles of UV. They all done by myself. I unfold them and I put in all these tile, this box, to have a kind of a sense for me. So I have the first, I have the bridge, so the platform, the grid, and after that I have the big platform, the landing platform, the back of the platform, and other little assets spread around the product itself, the model itself. Yes. A thing that you have to take care of when you do UV layouts is that you can use as much space as you need. So try to use both a combination of computing tools like the proper layout tool that you have here, or just go manually like I did for this style here, because it's just you have more control. You can just basically select them and move them and just basically arrange in the space as you prefer. Try to use as much space as you can basically. Another thing is, because we are going to move to Substance Painter after this, we need to take care of 2 things in order to be able to use Substance Painter with this model. The first one is that when you do multi-tiling, you don't have to have any object going across the border of the tile, for example something like that. If you have something like that, Substance Painter is going to give you an error and you are not going to be able to read the mesh at all. So before to export, always check if you have any of these cross lines of your model. And like as you can see here, even if it looks like if you get really close, it doesn't. Another thing is that all your object has UV. Like if you have a single face on one of your small objects that doesn't have UV, Substance Painter is gonna reject the mesh, so you will need to come back and basically look for the error and just fix it. To me, usually the first time I import a mesh to Substance Painter doesn't work, and it's always because of one of these two problems. But it's just a matter of coming back to your scene and see what's going on, basically what's wrong and what's not. Alright, so yeah, now let's move to Substance Painter. Alright, once you are in Substance Painter, the first things to do is to create a new scene, so File, New, and and from here you can select the mesh you want to use. In my case, just to show you, I will pick my bridge. An important thing to remember is that we are working with multi-tiling, as I showed before. So we need to have a UDIM tile in Substance Painter. These are new features of the last release, and it's really, really handy because it's gonna basically set up everything for you. You don't need to do anything manually. It's gonna be able to read all the tiling that you have. Once it's done, just open the start the scene. Little thing I want to say about Substance Painter, that I'm not a really good user of it because it's just not powerful enough for now for a VFX standard. It tends to crash lots of time if you have like tons of tiling, if you work on a high-res texture like 4K or maybe 8K. Here actually it's quite smooth. It's quite smooth, but just because the scene is not that heavy compared to maybe what can be like a project with, I don't know, 80 tiles or stuff like that. So for what I'm using Substance Painter, I'm using just for baked texture, for baked 2 texture map that I need in Mari for texturing. I could do that in Mari as well, but it's just way slower than here. So I just prefer to use this one, which is actually really fast. To do that, you can just go on texture set setting and bake texture. Here, you have basically a list of the map you can bake, and in my case, I just need the ambient occlusion and curvature map, so I can untick all of the others. And be sure to set 4K, as output size. This is what the size of my text is gonna be. You can also change maybe the rays of the ambient occlusion to have more quality or something on the curvature, but I tend to work with just the preset that works fine, maybe just increasing a bit the secondary rays, and that's it. Once you bake all the texture sets, you're gonna have all the map inside Substance Painter, but not outside of it. So of course we cannot use at the moment. In order to export the map outside of Substance Painter, what we need to do is go to File, Export Texture, and here we can actually export all the map outside of Substance Painter. My formats and depth is always XR and 16-bit. XR because it's a really good format and quality-wise, and 16-bit depth because it's the way I work for linear workflow management. It's just for me easier to have everything at 16-bit. In configuration, you can basically pick some presets of map that you want to export, or just go for additional map, what I usually do. And in additional map, you can basically select which texture you want to export. In this case, ambient and curvature. And basically that's it. You can just come back here, export your map wherever you want here in your folder. All right. This was Substance Painter. It's quite quick. There's not much to do about after that because we are going to texture in Mari. So let's see Mari. This is Mari, is the last part of the tutorial I'm going to cover today. And Mari is a 3D texture software. I'm going to go through the texturing of these assets for the scene. This box that I did for the scene of the bridge. Of course, I'm not going to go through all the steps because we don't have time to cover it, but I'm going to try to give you a look through what's my workflow, what I do usually, how I set up my scene, and all these kind of things. First things before to start is introducing to you this extension pack that I'm using. It's done by Jens Kafitz. This is the website, and it's a really cool extension pack for the software. Will like give you like way a lot of more tools and features that you can use for your texturing workflow, and it's really good. I strongly suggest to everybody interested on texturing Mari to have a look to it. It's £10 I think, or 10 on Gumroad to buy it, but it's really worth to have it. And also you have access to all this library of tutorial done by the team who developed this pack, and it's really interesting to have a look to it. Alright, so as you can see here, this is my texturing done. I'm previewing the texturing inside of Mari through the Arnold shader, because we're gonna use Arnold. Of course, it's nothing really accurate, but it's alright to give you like a kind of first look to what's gonna be the final result, and that's what I'm using for basically. Here you can see the node graph where I'm gonna work, and it's a really cool features on Mari 3 that basically give you access to all the node of the software instead of working with layer, which I found way more handy and way better actually. So basically we're gonna work with these two tabs. Node graph on the left side, where you can, by typing tab, create node, like a cloud for example, procedure one. And on the right side, the node property through basically it gives you access to all the property of the node you select, and you can change whatever you need basically. Like for example here we can change the size, we can change the roughness, and everything for every node. Alright, so what I do usually when I create a new scene in Mari is to set my size of my texture. In this case we can see from here that my size is actually 4K, and you can do that by access the when you create a new channel. So for example, let's do it together now. I can click on this icon to create a new channel called color, for example. Size, pick a size of 4K, you can up to 37 or 32, but obviously it's just too much. So yeah, 4K, depth 16-bit, because 16-bit means working with a linear color, and that's easier for me. So when I export everything, I'm sure everything is already gamma corrected. I need to correct it again in Maya, Max, or whatever other software you're using. And yeah, and that's it. Basically, I'm gonna create a channel for color, a channel for glossiness, specular, bump. These are the map that I usually do when I have to texture. Sometimes I also do other map, like emissive maybe, or normal map. It's depending what I need basically. So yeah, let's go through the diffuse channels so we can have a look to what I did basically, how node works. Node works basically as layer, just giving you more control and more access to the entire structure of the software. And the layer system is made by the merge node, this node here. Basically this node, the role of this node is to connect together to define your layer basically. Every major node could be considered as a layer, so this one is a layer, this one is another layer. And it does that because, as you can see here, I have the blending mode, so I can basically see how to blend it, say how to blend one layer to each other, to that one on above it, and yeah, I keep doing that for like basically all the layer I want to create. My usual workflow is to work with mask mostly, so I be able to basically change whatever I want whenever I want, and not actually bake any color on the object itself, because on that way it's way more complicated and difficult to change later on if I want to do some changing. So what I basically do is to set a base color. For example, this is my metal base color, really base one of course, and after that I can just use basically some variation or color variation of it, like for example a darker version of it. Just gonna take some bit. So yeah, this is a bit darker, or this one here, which is lighter. And I'm doing this using a HSV node to basically give me the control on hue, saturation, and value. But the pattern is the same, the color base is the same, it's just that basically, yeah, the value is changing. And so basically what I did was to create 3 layers, one called gray metal, one called black metal, one called white metal. And by the use of mask, basically spreading them on like on my model, choose like which pieces are some color and to which are the another one. And this is what I get basically. As you can see, white metal for this part, gray metal for most of my objects, and black metal for other additional pieces on the top of it. That's it basically. And after that, once I basically set up my color base, I can start doing add proper details to the object. And I started with stripes. I was trying to do something close to the first order style, if you can say that. So my color palette was around white, black, and red, and also gray, of course. So I choose like these red stripes. I did them by using this node called Super Shape 2D, which is a procedural node that like allows me to draw a pattern on several pattern on my object, and I can control it by like all of this property, like for example the scale, the repetition of it, you know, like all of these kind of procedural control that basically give me access to whatever I want, and in order to create my stripes along my surface. After that, I just choose the color, which was red in this case, a slightly bit different of red. Yeah, like that. And I mask this color in order to get just the stripes, and this was what I get basically. Here you go. And also break a bit the pattern itself with another mask here, like by hand, so it's not like a perfect red, but it's kind of dirty a bit and damaged, like kind of old. Once I did that, I passed to another layer, which was label in this case. As you can see here, I had some labels. One was this one here, a kind of generic one, like a number of the box. And here I just pick from Google the first order logos, and I put it here just to give a kind of a background to my assets, like there are maybe some box full of guns, I don't know, from the first order, or yeah, supplies, kind of things like that. After that, because I was kind of you know, it doesn't need to be like, it's not like a kind of hero asset, so I don't need to go too much in depth on texturing and detailing. So I just went to the next part, which was scratch and dirt of my models. And to do that, I'm gonna use like heavily the extension pack that I told you about before. And I did that using a procedural node called mask edge chipped, which is basically give me this result. Is a mask, a chip mask done procedurally through this node, thanks to this node that comes with the extension pack. This basically is the script that I get from the extension pack. I didn't do this. And it's basically by connecting this script to the curvature map that we generated in Substance Painter before, I have control all over the edge of my mesh. I can so use some presets like this one or other things to generate my mask. So the result was, as I said before, this one here, and which is not bad. Consider it took me like a couple of minutes, nothing more. It looks pretty good. And also break a bit with another procedural just to give another bit of more variation. And yeah, like that basically. And once I done that, I basically add to my layer stack through another merge node to get the scratch on my surface, and that was the result basically. In the end, dirt is a classic. There is a like a kind of old school way to do dirt, which is really good, and it's done by using another map we bake on Substance Painter, the ambient occlusion. So this is what I did basically. I start from an ambient occlusion map, which is this one. I inverted it, so I can get white just where I want to put my dirt, and which is usually all this area. And I merge it and combine with a cloud node just to break a bit. Cloud is another procedural node. Yeah, contrasty a bit because it was too, it wasn't, yeah, for me it wasn't contrasty enough, so I had a contrast node like that. And after that I decided to go by hand a bit to refine it, so I just painted some other details on the map itself, and I basically end up having something like that, which is at the same time is something, it's not like nothing really complicated to do. Actually it's quite easy, and especially it's quite fast. So yeah, that was another things. And the color, I just basically choose a color, in this case this kind of browny color, and yeah, and I add this as well to my layer stack through this merge node. In the end, I was just trying to give a bit more of details, and I had some brushes that I get it from Google, from internet, like kind of blaster burnt, like this one here. So yeah, I add this as well. Like, so maybe there was a kind of battle at certain point on that platform. So this is like kind of something that you can expecting to have on your on your assets. And yeah, this I just painted manually on the object itself. And yeah, basically this was my work from Tron Diffuse. The only difference from the other channel is that of course you need to work for specular example like on a black and white map. So this is what I ended up having, and of course for every layer I add a brightness node or a contrast node in order to just change the value of my color in order to get, as you know, white value for a reflective surface or black value for a not reflective surface. And yeah, as you can see, I did this for every single thing. Like for example, for my labels, I pick like kind of this kind of value. Yeah, of course it's desaturated, so at the end it's gonna look some like this. And yeah, and basically that's it. I did the same process with obviously different color value from my glossiness map, for my glossiness map too, and for my bump map as well. This is the glossiness and this is the bump. Once it's everything done, as I said, I connect everything to my shader, and in order to see what was the final look of my texturing. And if I was happy with them, and so I basically start exporting them. To export a map, it's really simple. Basically, you just go to your channels tab, right click on the channel you want to export first, export flatten. Basically, it's going to collapse all the layers together in order to export them as a texture map in this case. So you get access to this this window where you can basically look for the path where you want to export it. Choose the template, which usually for me is this one here. So yeah, channels name, so color, UDIM doesn't mean the number of my map, and UDIM convention, and the format, so EXR. The template, only this layer, everything, usually everything if I have to export lots of things. Color space, obviously linear because I'm working linear, so I don't want to color correct them. Once I export them, I can just do everything here. Small texture disabled because I actually don't need them, and alpha channel I usually keep it. And once you're done, basically you can export all the patches, and that means that it's gonna export all of the patches that I have. In this case, it's just one because I don't have multi-tile workflow. But as we say for the bridge, for example, where I had like 7, that means it's gonna export all 7 different maps with this naming convention: 1001 for the first one, 1002 for the second one, and keep doing like that. Alright, this was in the end a test that I did for the texturing in RenderMan, just to see how it was looking. And yeah, I also have, I think, some render that I did for the texture. Obviously this kind of preliminary render, I didn't do any shader work. I was just testing the texture were fine to move to the next part of the pipeline. So yeah, shading, lighting, and rendering basically. And yeah, these are like other props that I texture by myself. And yeah, that's it basically. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I know it was really fast, but as I said, it's just a walkthrough all my pipeline, basically the workflow that I had for texturing assets between Maya and Mari. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye.